The first person, this is Terri Fitzgerald. Terri and I go back a number of years. We graduated from high school together. Can you just maybe start out, just tell us how the story began?
Okay, so I heard Althea mention at the beginning the connection of stroke and COVID-19. I had been reading up on that too, because the fact is stroke has always kind of been the boogeyman of my life. I was always aware of the threat. My grandmother had a massive stroke at 81 and died, and my baby brother was 28 when he was riding home from a wedding reception with his family, and he had a brain aneurysm and he died. So, it was always like, oh my, I could have a stroke. And when they diagnosed me with sarcoidosis back in 1990 and gave me mega doses of steroids and all kinds of other toxins, my system went into just uncontrollable high blood pressure, and that's where I live. And so it was always kind of the specter of a vascular accident, heart attack, or stroke happening. So I tried to eat right. I tried to do the things you need to do, and didn't process stress well, but still I tried. And then, well, guess what? Tuesday, May 5th, the boogeyman came knocking at my door. Stroke. I had a stroke. And I had watched all the videos with the people in the society's videos of people having strokes and, coming back, and the friends and the family, but nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for that. My husband said, well, he called the paramedics right away. He said that I said, I have no idea. But he says, I said, I'm scared. I don't know what I said, but I knew right in that very ordinary instant, I was getting ready to get up and go get ready for the meeting. Everything in my life changed.
That's amazing. So that was this past Tuesday night this took place.
Yes.
So you made it to the hospital, and it was a very short period of time before the paramedics got there. So about 5 or 6 minutes before they got there. So what was your stay in the hospital like, and what was the prognosis?
Got there, ER, everybody was moving me around and yelling the words brain attack, which I wasn't really familiar with, but they kept saying brain attack, and that was a bit disconcerting, but they kept trying to keep me calm, and they kept running all kinds of tests. And so
keep you calm while shouting brain attack.
While shouting brain attack, exactly. But anyway, finally, the neurologist came in, and he just looked me in the eye and he said, "You've had a stroke." And he started talking about giving me that injection you hear people talk about, where if they get it in you right away, it's supposed to dissolve blood clots. But he let me know, he was a very good doctor, I feel. He let me know that he wasn't too sure the risk would outweigh the benefits, because he said it will make you bleed everywhere. It will just make you hemorrhage inside and out. And there is that problem for you, since you don't believe in blood transfusion. And I asked him what he thought I should do. And he says, well, I really don't think you should take it. And he said, we'll see how things go. You seem to, be a candidate for some recovery. So then they started using those words like blood clot, and then they kept saying occlusion, and then they'd say stuff like cyst at the base of the brain. And I don't know. But anyway, their big concern was this occlusion. And they kept saying that, it was shutting off part of my brain. The blood was not flowing freely there. And so because of that, I was going to have problems. They put me in ICU for a while. And the thing of it was, I suddenly realized that left side of my body was gone. I no longer had. They'd ask me if I could see, they do this little finger. I couldn't see anything, couldn't move anything. Nothing was happening. When they stand me up, I'd fall over. I couldn't sit up, couldn't stand up, because it was just gone. And they were very encouraging. They kept saying, well, in time, if you don't give up, if you, keep your spirits up, you will eventually get this side of your body back. I mean, you see, I'm waving both hands though, but they said eventually, because it was gone at that point, and it wasn't something that they thought there would be a quick comeback.
And that was on Wednesday?
That was on Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm. So How long were you in ICU? That was overnight Tuesday and into Wednesday, or no?
Yes, right, correct.
So they move you into a regular room by Wednesday. How do you feel that adding micro daily impacted you? Could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, I'm not a miracle cure person. But and you know me, as you said, you've known me for years. I'm a bit skeptical about anything and everything, but I will try things. And I know that Jehovah designed the body with an amazing capacity to repair itself. And given the right tools, I know that can happen. So my baby brother snuck into the hospital against all odds, and he started me on supplements. He started me on supplements right away. And I wasn't expecting anything, and I'm not, saying anything, but just to cut to the chase, I woke up that next morning, because I always wake up at 3 in the morning. Well, always anyway, but especially there because it was so hot. And I get all tangled in the covers because I had no use of the left side of the body. So I'm, tugging and pulling with the right side and kicking with the right side normally. But all of a sudden, I was awakened by the fact that both sides of my body were kicking. Both legs were kicking. Both hands were tugging. And it kind of freaked me out at first. I thought maybe I was dreaming. So I didn't get up, but I just lay there and I extended my hand into the air. And my hand went up, and that freaked me out a little bit. So then I wiggled my fingers, and they worked, which was shocking to me because I wasn't dreaming. It really was happening. And I mean, was it a miracle? Was it the supplements? Was it both? Whatever the case, it wasn't a fluke because it didn't just happen. I mean, it continued on throughout the day. And so much so, I mean, I'm just going to say, which was kind of funny to me, but not really. The doctors and the neurologists and the people who had seen me in the beginning, they knew I had a stroke. But as the new nurses came on duty and they would tell the next nurse what was going on, they go, well, they say she had a stroke. Like they didn't even believe it anymore, And I'm like, I had a stroke. I really had a stroke. But the level of transition from one day to the next was so drastic that there were those coming on duty for the first time looking at me. I didn't look like a stroke victim. So, I mean, those who knew, because there's still a little deficit in my left side, a little heaviness of the tongue. But, I got my memory, I got my words, I got mobility. So it was just kind of hard to believe.
That was, that's pretty remarkable. You told me a story about one nurse, and you don't have to tell this part of the story if you don't want to, but you were in distress at the time, and she said that you were not in distress. This is before you started your supplements. Just how immobile were you at the time when the nurse finally believed it?
Oh yeah, exactly. That was a very scary point because you're COVID-19. You're in there alone. You are completely reliant on medical personnel. And they're just people, they I don't know, whatever they do as they're there. So they listen or they don't. And yeah, this lady was not listening to me. I mean, I was in a state of distress, like you said. And they told me, because I was vomiting, which is really gross, but they want me sitting up because they said, because I had a stroke, I could aspirate, I could die. And I'm telling her this is what's happening, and she's telling me, no, you're not, So, and it is frightening, but you just pray and hope you survive it. But it was kind of harrowing. I wasn't sure that I would survive it at that point. But as I say, and the point to me is, I got through that particular night, and I don't know. I'm just thankful to Jehovah that I had an advocate, that I had people who could get in there and see me, namely you, and that he was looking out for me. And I know that he was, because, it's just no telling in this day and time how things will work out. But
well, it's not a good time to be in the hospital. That's for sure.
It's really not a good time to be in the hospital.
And that's kind of the thing that we've been talking about here on this call for the past few weeks, is we're trying to tell folks, be proactive, do something now. An ounce of prevention right now definitely beats a pound of cure, because you might not be able to get that pound of cure when you get in the hospital. But let's talk to you a little bit more now. What do you think your prognosis is now, and what are the medical professionals saying?
Yeah, well, because they sent me home on health care once I was mobile. So every day somebody comes. I've had a doctor come, I've had a nurse come, I've had 2 therapists come, and they do their assessments and they do the therapy. And everybody says, wow, you're doing great. It's amazing. And I totally agree. I mean, they talked, and they were still being very encouraging at first. They talked maybe months, maybe years, but all of that has sped up just tremendously. I mean, it hasn't been 2 weeks, and it's sped up tremendously. And there's been just that dramatic change, which has shocked me. It's also seemingly shocked them as well. And I feel like I'm going to keep on with the supplements, as you mentioned, and with Jehovah's help, I'm just looking to get better and better. And I mean, seeing is believing for me. What can I say? Like I said, everything is in motion. I'm up, I'm at 'em, and with Jehovah's help, I'm going to try to keep it as optimal as possible. Hey. Oh.
So what's so special about waving them arms now, Terry?
I couldn't even lift the arm. The arm was not there. It was gone.
It looked like you lifted pretty good.
Yeah, right? They say, lift your arm and lift this arm. Now lift this arm. And as far as I was concerned, it was lifted, but it wouldn't come up from my leg. It was right there. Try. And then they'd hold it up, and it would go. And they'd hold it up again, and it would go. That was it. And now, hey, oh.
Well,